next class. That will be of Shravani madam's mad. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the data cleaning and another pre-processing technique. So I already started the introduction part of data cleaning. So data cleaning, the importance of data cleaning, according to Ralph Kimball and DCA survey, they say that data cleaning is a must because data cleaning is a biggest problem of the data warehousing or one of the biggest problems of the data warehousing. According to the survey, they say that data cleaning is a must for the data warehousing. Obviously, when the data is cleaned, then only we can process the data. So with the dirt data, with the, uh, inconsistent data, noisy data, data processing cannot be done. So whenever the data has to be stored in the warehouse, it should be cleaned first. Then only the data can be stored for the further processing. So these are the data cleaning tasks. The first task is filling in the missing values and identify the outliers and smooth out noisy data. So correct the inconsistent data. If there is any redundancy or duplication through the data integration, that should be resolved. Inconsistencies should be corrected. And if there are unwanted beyond the range outliers, outliers are nothing but the values which are not in a particular range we have selected. So if they are not in the range, we have to identify them and we have to smooth out the noise of data. Then if there are any missing values, we should remove the data, missing values. So we should fill the missing values with some values. So here the missing values, missing data, how to deal with the missing data. The dealing of missing data is an important task here because whenever you happens to see a data which is having errors, which is having no data. Actually, there are tuples which contains few attributes which do not have any values. In such cases, what one should perform is one should identify those missing data and fill those missing data with something appropriate. So that appropriate filling is done through the missing data concept. Okay, so that appropriate data filling concept. So how here, whenever a data is found to be missing some of its attributes, what one should do is they should identify. My screen is visible. They should be identifying those missing data and they have to deal with the missing data. So what are the reasons for the missing data? There are many reasons for the missing data. So the reasons, the first reason is that the equipment that we are using for the data collection may be malfunctioned equipment, and when they are combined with the other data, recorded data, sometimes inconsistencies arises between the data, and some of the data may be deleted without knowing. And sometimes due to the misunderstanding, the data may not be entered. Considering that it may not be useful. The one who is entering the data, they may consider that the importance of the data is not known to them, or they don't know whether the data is particularly needed for the processing. So what do? They ignore and do not insert that data. So what happens? There will be missing data. And um, sometimes the historical changes are not updated. And the historical changes, or if the data is not updated properly, what happens? Historical aspects will be missing. So the information about or pre uh, information about the data will be missing. So for all these reasons, there will be a missing of data arises. So how should we handle the missing data? So the first thing that we must do is whenever you find a missing data, first ignore the tuple. If possible, if the tuple is no more needed for you just ignore that. Ignore the tuple. Usually when class label is missing and that particular the attribute values or that particular tuple do not hold any importance in your processing for your consideration. So just ignore the tuple. When it holds no importance for your processing. Okay, but this particular method is not effective because when in cases where the attribute values if there is a tuple, if there are number of tuples are having one particular attributes values missing or multiple attributes values missing, several attributes values are missing, then only this particular method is effective. Like let us see here, like I have a particular table. Okay, in this table there are attributes and this is a student table. So student, what does the student table contain? The student table contains the student number, student name, student age, etc., etc., address, marks. So for the time being, if I am taking the data, this is a student table, I said, right? So this is student number and student name, and this is age, and this is address. So now what happens when I'm trying to fill the details? If I happens to find my table is not drawn properly, if I happens to find this particular name field is missing for multiple attributes, or the address field is age field is missing for multiple attributes. So what do I do? If many attributes happens to be missing those values, the ignoring property, ignoring the tuple is the best choice. If the table contains multiple missing values for multiple attributes, in that cases, it is better the method of ignoring the tuple. If there is student number and there is name and there is age and there is address, so what happens? All the values are filled. This is X and age is some 22 and the address is some Vijayawada. Consider there is a tuple, another tuple which is having roll number 2 and the name attribute is missing. Age attribute is again 23 and address attribute is missing again. So if there is a tuple which is having multiple attributes values missing, in that cases ignore this tuple. That could be best thing. If you ignore the tuple, then this particular process of ignoring the tuple concept or method is effective. If not, it is not effective. When percentage of missing attributes varies considerably, which means that there are no much attributes values missing, then this method is not useful. Okay, and the another thing, how to handle the missing data is fill in the values manually. So another thing we can do is whenever you are trying to fill the values, you better try to fill the values manually. Another method, So when you have to fill the values manually, what happens? It is a time uh, consuming process. So much of time will be eaten by the process of filling the values manually. You have to check the database entirely, thoroughly, wherever the values are missing. First, you need to identify those values, then you need to fill the values. So, missing the values manually, filling the values manually is a tedious and infeasible process. It is not feasible. Or you better use the global constant unknown whenever you happens to see an attribute value. And if it does not hold much importance, better you have to fill with any other value, so fill with the unknown. Okay? Or you fill the value with the attribute mean, like I said in the earlier class. If a particular attribute's value is missing, this age value is missing. So what will I do? I will take the mean of this particular age attribute, and whatever the value I get, I fill here. Okay? So there are, consider there are here 3 and so on, 10 tuples are there. Okay? So for these 10 tuples, some of the values, age value is missing. So what will I do? I hope happens to have only 8 age values. 2 age values are missing for me for 2 rows. So what will I do? For this age attribute, what I will do? I will take the mean of all the values that I have got here. 22, 23 plus and so on, all the 8 values by 8. So what will I get? I'll get a mean. So I'll fill that particular value here. Remaining values, wherever the attribute value is missing, there I will fill the value. Okay? And then another thing, we will use the most probable value. Better to use the most probable value. Another method is. So use the most probable value. Can you see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Madam,
So,
మధ్య మధ్యలో బ్లాంక్ అవుతుంది మేడం.
oh, that is happening to me here. What is the reason I cannot find out?
ఓకే మేడం.
That's why I'm asking.
ఓకే మేడం.
Maybe network problem. Network is slow here. But why is it blinking? I don't understand. It is happening to me also. That's why I'm asking. Okay. The most probable value. This is also another method to fill the missing values. Okay. This the regression methodology or inference based tools like Bayesian formula or decision tree induction. Using these methods, we will fill the values for the attributes in our data set. Okay. For example, we may construct the decision tree to predict the missing values, and then whatever the missing values are there, decision tree regression will be applied, and that particular value will be applied to the missing values. Okay. Next, how to handle the noisy data. What do you mean by noise? Noise is nothing but a random error. Noise is nothing but a random error or variance. Random error or variance in a measurable variable, in a measured variable. So, you have to reduce this particular noise. What are the reasons for the noise. So incorrect attribute values. Noise is nothing but, if I say age is equal to -10, which is nothing but inappropriate value. It is incorrect value. Age should be either 10 or 20 or 1, but it should not be minus. A negative value should not be called as the age value. So what happens? Incorrect value is stored for age. So what do we do? The reasons for these particular incorrect attribute values are due to the faulty data collection instruments. Obviously, like we have seen in the previous um, missing values concept, here also data collection instruments are wrong. They do not work properly. Or data entry problems. Either it can be done by the human being, also one who is entering the data. They may not maintain the records properly. Or while transmitting the data, inconsistencies arise between the networks from the sending device to the receiving device, or the network through which it is followed. It is passed, so which leads to data transmission problems. Inconsistent data is received at the other end, or the systems that sending side and the receiving side systems may be not compatible with each other, which leads to the inconsistent data. Incorrect values will be given. Okay, technology limitation. The technology limitation, it can be applied to the previous thing also, technology problem, which means the systems that are used for the data transmission may not be of same kind. Technological issues arise. Or naming conventions. So while you are naming the data, some one may follow one approach of naming, and the other one follow another approach of naming the data for the same table that they are using. So which leads to the inconsistencies. So likewise, incorrect attributes are arise due to these problems. Next, duplicate records and incomplete data and inconsistent data are other problems along with incorrect attribute for the noisy data. Okay, so now let us discuss how to handle the noisy data. So here we were stopped, I think, in the last class. So I was in a rush, so I discussed it again. Last class we were in a rush, so now I'm discussing again. That's why it took little time for me to discuss about the um, noise data and how to handle the data, incorrect data, how to handle missing data. So the data cleaning process is discussed a little further. Now we'll discuss about how to handle the noisy data, the mechanisms for handling the noisy data. So binning method, they are a smooth sorting technique to identify to remove the noise from the data. So what do they do? They are the binning methods are the smooth sorted data value, which will be constituted consulting its neighborhood, that is the values around it. That is, whenever the data, the value will be comparing itself with the values that are around itself. So it will compare itself. So for example, age attribute, we have seen it there. What happens? There is a age column. In that age column, multiple values are to be stored. So here one student's age is 20 given, another one is 22, and one's values is -10, and then 24, or -20, here it is given, and etc. etc. The values are given like this. Now what happens? This particular value, when it happens to identify itself as inconsistent, noisy, what does it do? It will compare itself with the other attributes. So whether it is holding the good values or not, it identifies and it rectifies the mistake. So that's what happens generally. So what does it do? It will first sort the data and partition into bins. Based on the data, it will identify. I think I have an age data 22, 23, 24, 20, 19. So what does it will do? It will first sort the data like 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. And then what does it do? It will partition into equal frequency bits. That is, one can smooth by bin means smooth by bin median, smooth by bin boundary. Once he divides it into equal parts, the data is divided into equal parts. Each part is known as the bin. Then it will be smoothed by the noise is smoothed by the bin means or bin median or bin boundaries. So whatever the boundaries that are given to the bin, based on that, the process will be carried out. Okay, we will talk about how this process is done, that we will talk about in the later parts. Okay, so what does it do? It will identify it will sort the data and then divide into equal parts, then the binning process will be carried out. Next method for the identifying the noisy data is the regression. This regression technique is applied to handle the noisy data, not to identifying, to handle the data. So what does it do? Anyway, this binning, regression, clustering, and combined computer and human inspection, all of them are done to reduce the noise that is existing in the data. So that reducing of noise will be done by regression also. What does it do? It will smooth by fitting the data into regression functions. So these regression functions, such as linear regression for identifying the best line to fit the two attributes, so that one attribute can be used to predict the other, or multiple linear regression. This is also an extension for the linear regression, where more than two attributes are involved and the data are fit to a multidimensional surface. Okay, so all the things regression thing in regression also will identify the attribute which is having the noisy data, and what does it do? If it is linear regression or whatever the regression techniques it is applying, if it is a linear regression, it involves it finds the best line to fit two attributes. So in order to fit the two attributes, which attribute is which line is closer to the attribute? So compares the things, both attributes, and identifies or smooths the noise. So the fitting of the data will be done through the regression functions. Next, clustering. Clustering, in the clustering process, what does it do? It will does the comparison between the attributes or the values. Like what does it do? Clustering is nothing but it will divide the data into different parts. So similar data is, so a threshold will be created. Based on the threshold, whatever the data belongs to a particular category, that is denoted as a cluster. Like it will divide it into different clusters and it will detect and remove the outliers. Like if I say age group is between 20 to 30, the values before and after, or less than 20 or greater than 30, are called as the outliers. So when groups are constructed in clustering, what does it do? The values which do not fall into the particular group will be denoted as the outliers, and those outliers will be removed. Okay. And the last method is that combined computer human inspection. In this, what does it do? Whatever the values that are identified to be suspicious or noisy value, it will be checked by the human being, and he will do the possible process to reduce the noise. Okay. So first, let us discuss about there are different methods for the uh, in the for the noise removal or noise handling techniques of binning. So binning is involved with equal width partitioning and equal depth partitioning. Two methods are there. First, let us discuss about equal width partitioning. That is nothing but a distance partitioning, you can also say. So now here, what does it do? These are the sequence of steps that are involved in the equal width partitioning. Here, what is done? What will be done by it? Whatever the values that are there, or whatever the attribute which is having the noisy data, so that a particular uh, values are divided into n number of intervals, like equal sized intervals. So if there are 10 values, 1 to 10 values, they are divided into equal grids, okay, which are of equal size. So in that, if A and B are the lowest and highest values, A is the lowest value, B is the highest value. So in this, like we have studied in the previous slide, binning will be applied to the sorted data. So here you should consider that in that sorted data, the first value will be the lowest value, the last value will be the highest value. So A is the lowest value, B is the highest value. So if A and B are the lowest and highest values, the width of the interval will be calculated with formula, that is B minus A by N. B is nothing but the highest value, A is nothing but the lowest value, and N is the total number of values. Okay, but here the problem with the what do we say, this particular binning problem, equal width partitioning of binning method, there is a problem. The skewness or the skewed data cannot be handled well. What do you mean by skewing? Here the word skewing is coming. What do you mean by skewing? When do you say the data is skewed? What is the skewness of the data? Okay, can you answer? What is the skewness? Have you ever heard about this word skewness? Skewness of data is not handled well. Skewness, you cannot answer this. So let me give you a homework for you. You identify what is the skewed data. Which data is called skewed data?
Skewed information is worse than no information at all.
Okay. The next concept is equal width. Equal width or equal width partitioning method. So here in equal depth partitioning method, again the range of n interval values is divided into a same number of samples. Like if I say the data is containing 10 attributes, same number of samples are taken, divided into n number of intervals. Okay, so divides the range into n intervals, each containing approximately the same number of samples. So same number of samples data, nothing but the bins are divided into same number of samples. Here you will see binning methods for data smoothing. Here the data is given here, and here as you see, before the binning process is applied, the data is divided into the data is sorted first. So after sorting, they are divided into equal partitions. So equal partitions, like one bin 1 is having 4, 8, 9, 15, nothing but 4 equal partitions. Here what are you saying? Divides the range into n intervals, each containing approximately same number of samples. So 4. Here bin 2 is containing again 4, 21, 21, 24, 25. Again bin 3 is containing 26, 28, 29, 34. So these are the 3 bins. So it has divided the data into 3 bins. First sort data is collected and it is sorted and again divided into 3 bins. Okay. Next, what does it do? It is smoothing the bin by means. So now what does it do? 9 plus 8 plus, 4 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 15 is applied here. Divided by 4. What does it do? What is the value? 8 plus 4, 12. 12 plus 9, 21. 21 plus 15, 36. 36 divided by 4. So 4 ones, 4 nines. So the value is 9. What mean value? So now what does it do? It will, the smoothing process will be applied to all the 4 values by mean. So it will replace all the 4 values to by 9. Replacing the values with the mean that are obtained for the list of values. Again 21, 21, 24, 25, 21 plus 21 plus 24 plus 25 divided by 4. Again the same process is done. Here 21 plus 21 plus 24 plus 25. So what happens here? 48, here 49, 50, and then 50 plus 20, 60, 70, 70 plus 20, 90, 91 divided by 4. So approximately 91 divided by 4 means 4 twos and 4 threes. So approximate value. So 23. So 23. The values that are for the second bin will be replaced with the mean value. Likewise, 26 plus 28 plus 29 plus 34. Again, the same process, mean process is identified, and whatever the mean value that is came here, that particular bin 3 is replaced with the mean value. I hope you are following. Then the third step that is involved here is replacing the smoothing the bin by boundaries. Boundaries are nothing but what is the value? See, 1 second, let me erase this. So what is happening here? Here you can see in this particular bin 1 list, this is the lowest value and this is the highest value, isn't it? So now what does it do? It will does the smoothing process by replacing the value which is nearest to the boundary. So 4 is the first value. Since it is the lowest value of the boundary, that is replaced with 4 only. Then 8 is more close to 4. So the second 8 is replaced with 4. Then 9 is also more close to 4 than 15. So 9 is also replaced with 4. Then again 15, since it is the last highest boundary, 15 is kept as it is. Then again take the bin 2. In bin 2, the lowest value is 21, highest value is 25. Again the replacing process will be done. Okay. So Varali, are you there? Varali? So 21 is the lowest value. So 21 is written here. Then the next value, since it is 21, 21 is only given. Next, when you see 24, 24 is compared to the least value, it is close to the highest value only. That is why 24 is replaced with 25. Okay. Then here when you see 26 is the least value, 34 is the highest value. Again, the replacement process starts. So the value, the first value in bin 3 is 26 as it is the least value. The second value 28. Since it is close to 26 rather than 34, 26 is written here. Then 29, when compared to it, the difference between 29 and 26 is 3. Isn't it? Whereas 29 and 34, the difference is more than this. So what happens? The least value is replaced here. Then 34 is the highest value, so 34 is taken. So this is the methods for partitioning the, for smoothing the noisy data. Okay. So regression method. The second method is regression method. So in this particular regression method, the data is smoothed by fitting the data into a function such as with the regression function. So first one is linear regression. So what does the linear regression mean? It will find the best line to fit the two attributes. The best line to fit the two attributes or the variables. Okay, so that one attribute can be used to predict the other attribute. So in linear, one attribute, consider if the A1, A2 are the two attributes. So if you know A1, you can easily identify the A2. So what does it do? In regression, it will divide, it will identify. In regression, it will identify one attribute using the other attributes. Due to a line will be drawn. So it will analyze the relationship between the two attributes. So here x1, this is x1 and this is y1. So the line is y is equal to x plus 1. So it will divide the data into equal parts. You see here. So when you know one value, the other value can be identified. Just give me a second, students. Just 2 minutes. Okay. So can you hear me, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So here we are discussing about the regression, right? So here, according to the concept of regression, we will be using one variable in order to identify the other, predict the other variable, or will one attribute is used to identify the value of the other attribute. So as I said, A1, A2 are the two attributes, right? Here, consider this example that is given here. So in this x attribute, x axis and y axis, x1 is one of the values in the x1 is one of the values of the x-axis, y1 is one of the values of y-axis. So now consider I have the graph like this. In this x-axis, I want to identify the population, the growth of population. To identify the population increase. Okay? Population increase. So y axis stands for the population increase, whereas x-axis, the x-axis that is given, it will track the food protection. Food production. So rather than writing here, this is the food production and that is the population growth. So now what should be done? If the population is increasing, the food production should also be increased so that there will be no insufficiencies for the population to be supplying the food. So now what happens if I say in this particular graph, as the y value increases, the x value should also increase. As the y value increases, the x value should also increase at the same rate. So that the relationship between the x-axis and y-axis are in a straight line. So here you see, as the x value increases, as the y value increases, the x value should also increase. So since this is the food production, I am telling, since in this particular graph, since x is the food supply, food production, and y is the population growth, if there should be a balance between both the attributes, both the values, when y is increasing, nothing means population are increasing, population is increasing, x should also increase. If it does not happen, then what happens? There is no balance between these two attributes. So in order to visualize the regression technology, the regression method is used. Okay, so the relationship between two attributes, that is x and y, is done with the regression. So when y is increasing, x should also increase. That is why one attribute x is used to identify the y. If you want to predict y, you have to use the x attribute. So that's what it says. The regression, by fitting the data into regression functions, in this regression function, when one particular attribute is used to identify the another attribute. So this can be done only using the regression method. There is also another regression method called multiple linear regression. So in this linear regression, the dependency x and y are dependent. which means that y is identified based on the x. Or if there is a change in y, the x should also be changed. Okay. If there is population increasing, the x should also be, the food production should also be increased. So the common values, you see, so the regression is constructed. The line which is dividing the two into equal portions. Okay. Next one is cluster analysis. What do you mean by clustering? So you will detect and remove the outliers. See simply, so this is the data set that is given. In this data set, there are 3 clusters constructed, which means that we will identify in this clustering analysis. In cluster analysis, what is done is the data is organized into similar groups, where similar values are organized into groups, and those groups we are calling it as a cluster. This is a cluster 1, and this is cluster 2, and this is cluster 3. 3 clusters are there. Okay. So the values that are falling outside these clusters are denoted as the outliers. 1, 2, 3 outliers. So there are 3 outliers. Okay. So this is also another smoothing method in which, but here you have to identify the center point based on which the values in one particular range will be falling under cluster 1. In another particular range will be fall into cluster 2. And another set of values that may be greater than this, or greater than the cluster 1 and lesser than cluster 2, and I am calling it as another cluster. And there are some values which do not fall into any of these categories. So for my analysis, the values that will be outside of these clusters will be denoted as the outliers. Okay, there are 3 outliers here. Next one is data cleaning as a process. So how do you do the data cleaning? Data cleaning will be, first you have to identify the discrepancy. What are the discrepancies that are existing with the data are identified. Discrepancy detection is done. So for this, what we will do? We will use the metadata. The metadata example. What kind of metadata is used is what is the domain of the data, what are the range of values, and there are any dependencies existing with the data, how the data is organized. Okay. So if there is any overloading existing with the values of the particular data, that will be identified. If there are any unique values that are existing, unique rules that are existing with the data, or any other rules like consecutive rules or null value rules, if there are any rules that are existing, that will be identified. Or we will be using the tools called data scrubbing and data auditing, and data migration and integration tools, and data iterative and interactive tools. These are the different tools that are used to remove the data cleaning process. First one, data scrubbing. So data scrubbing is nothing but simple methods, like based on our idea about the data, the one who is trying to clean the data, the simple knowledge, the domain knowledge, like spell checking, or the human, he himself will be identifying if there are any data existing with wrong values, inconsistent values, and he will remove those inconsistencies and wrong values himself. Or data auditing. So a process will be applied. Data auditing means it will first identify, it will does the analysis, and it will identify the relationships between the data, or if there are any rules existing with the data, that will be analyzed. So if there are any dependencies, relationship between the data, and if there are any violations of the relationships. So all those things will be identified in the data auditing process. Okay. Next, data migration and integration tools are nothing but migration tools are applied to nothing but the data conversion process, transformation to specific data. When the data is need to be used in one particular platform, the needful changes should be done. So the data will be converted. So that conversion process is done using the data migration tools. So as part of the data cleaning, this conversion transformations should also be done. So to data migration tools, the transformations can be applied. Next, another ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading. So this is combinedly, we will call it as data ETL tools. The data will be extracted from multiple sources. Okay, and after collecting the data from multiple sources, we call it as extraction. The process after extraction process, it should be converted into a format that is understandable to the model where it is used. So that conversion process is done through the transformation. And then once it is converted to the appropriate format, it will be loaded into the data warehouse for the further processing. So the extraction ETL tools, extraction, transformation, and loading is combinedly we call it as ETL. We cannot say extraction is done separately, transformation is done separately, loading is done separately. But collectively, when the data is collected, automatically the extraction, transformation, and loading is done. And then finally it will be stored into the data warehouse. So the last one is integration of the two processes. Excuse me. So in the integration of the two process, this is a two-step process actually, in which discrepancy that is existing. Excuse me. 1 second. I'm having hiccups. Let me finish this. It is a two-step discrepancy process. In this, what will be done? The integration process will be done. With the integration process is an iterative and interactive process. And the best example is Potter's wheel. Potter's wheel here means the data that has to be collected, and at the same time it should be converted. So the iterative and interactive process is nothing but it is a two-step process for the discrepancy detection and data transformation. So it will identify and the cleaning need to be cleaning data, and it will emphasize the interactivity between the data, and based on that the collection process will be applied. Here in Potter's wheel. Potter's wheels are nothing but it is a tool that is publicly available for the data cleaning. So the iterative and interactive is nothing but the interaction. So the data that is identified to be discrepancy is detected, and then the transformation is done. So here the gradual process of constructing the data model is done here. One step at a time, the transformation process is done. The one step at a time, the debugging process is done. One step at a time, the composing process is done. Likewise, the transformation is done based on or by graphically providing some examples. So likewise, in Potter's wheel, the importance of the data and the relationship importance of the data and the relationship between the data is identified, and based on that, incrementally step by step process is applied, and based on that particular step by step process, the data is cleaned and will be comprehended based on the model that we are using. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. మా డౌట్స్ ఏం లేవా?
No, madam.
మాధవ్ విన్నావా క్లాసు? వరాలి ఉందమ్మా?
Madam, అవును మేడం.
నేను మరి ఇందా నేను పిలిస్తే మాట్లాడలా. ఉన్నావా? సరే డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే అడగండి అమ్మా, లేకపోతే వైండ్ అప్ చేసేది. ఎవరో గట్టి తిట్టుకుంటున్నట్టున్నారు, ఎక్కళ్ళు వచ్చేసి.
You can have audios. However, you can some of the topics you can't have audio. You can able to
బాగా ఎక్కళ్ళు వస్తుంది.
skip that one. So for every
ఎక్కళ్ళు
topic, you also make all those things will be ready.
Good morning, everyone.
So what is the again four approach? One is
Madam. మేడం నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ లింక్ కూడా పెట్టారు మేడం గ్రూప్ లో. ఓకే మేడం, నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ లింక్ కూడా పెట్టారు మేడం గ్రూప్ లో మాకు. అంటే శ్రావణి మేడం క్లాస్ ఉందిగా మేడం, మరి క్లాస్ లెఫ్ట్ మేడం.
ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోండి అని చెప్తున్నా.
ఓకే మేడం, థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్.
ఓకే మేడం. So first four core approaches is one is video content and e-content images, assessment and discussion forum. So it should be a video content as video content, e-content, evaluation and discussion forum. Again, how to store this, because even if you have a Moodle server, you can't have audio video files in the Moodle server. If you load the server and it is unnecessary one, you can't able to edit and everything. Better you can store it in a Google Drive.
ఫ్రెండ్స్ లెఫ్ట్ అయిపోండి తొందరగా, నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ టైం అవుతుంది.
ఎన్నింటి క్లాస్? అది 11:10 కదా?
ఎస్ మేడం.
Won't give more than 200 MB, so you can't store 200 MB in the Moodle itself. So better you can able to store it in Google Drive. You can share the link to the student, like how we are doing here, right? For any lectures, we are not dumping the lectures video in the Udemy account. We are sharing the link, so that video file is in our Google Drive, so you can able to access our files. So same thing. How to, because before the preparation of the course, you need to have all the content book ready. Let's say if you have video content level of understanding, the basic, medium, and advanced. For each of there is a source.
ఫ్రెండ్స్ మూవ్ ఫాస్ట్ లెఫ్ట్ అవును తొందరగా.
Topic. Let me source from the NPTEL, otherwise EDX or some other video, or whatever it is, you can able to show here, and it should be Then again, you have to take care of that OER policy. So you have to make it responsible. Then again, e-text file. Let's say if you want to share any of the basic understanding, if you want to show the store or medium or advanced, if you have any open access, then you can able to download it, keep it ready for advanced level. And images also. You want to show different images.
అమ్మా వీళ్ళని నేను రిమూవ్ చేసుకోవాలా?
You have everything ready.
మేడం అసలు లెఫ్ట్ అవ్వట్లేదు మేడం, ఎవరు ఇక్కడ చెప్తున్నాను మేడం దాని నుంచి.
వీళ్ళు ఎందుకు అవ్వట్లేదంటే అక్కడ పడే అక్కడికి పోయి ఉంటారు.
ఏ తొందరగా లెఫ్ట్ అవ్వండి.
ఏ దుర్గా నంబూరి ఇప్పుడు రిక్వెస్ట్ పెట్టిందండి జాయిన్ అవడానికి.
ఇందాకే పెట్టింది మేడం, మళ్ళీ అదే లింక్ అనుకుని పెట్టినట్టుంది మేడం. పండు లెఫ్ట్ అయ్యా, లెఫ్ట్ రా తొందరగా. ఉత్తమ్ మాట్లాడతాడు, ఇలా మాట్లాడు.
అసలు ఆడు ఉన్నాడా ఈ సూర్యగాడు? ఎప్పుడు ఇంతే బాబు. నేను ఆల్రెడీ ఇంకో సెషన్ లో ఉన్నాను, ఇంకో సెషన్ లో ఉండి మీ క్లాస్ తీసుకున్నాను.
అదే మేడం, అమ్మాయి లెఫ్ట్ అయ్యాడు. నాగార్జున లెఫ్ట్ అవ్వు. నాగార్జున
రిమూవ్ చేస్తుంది, నేను రిమూవ్ చేసేస్తాను అందరినీ.
ఓకే మేడం,
సరే
ఓకే మేడం, బై మేడం.
బై బై.
Let's say now content is ready.